Andre 3K, they got wall drop the location.
I still got PTSD.
Fuck the big three.
Nigga,
It's just Big Me.
Nigga.
This is a this is a video about the brand new J. Cole mixtape, Might Delete Later, which came out 2 days ago on Friday. Complete surprise. Nobody knew this was dropping. He released like a teaser in January, I think, maybe. But this was a big surprise because, as everybody knows, Drake and J. Cole got dissed pretty bad by none other than the GOAT a couple weeks ago on the Future and Metro Boomin album that was a little more than disappointing. But I really didn't expect Cole to clap back at all, especially this quickly, because there is a song on here called 7 Minute Drill that I'll get to later that completely disses Kendrick to some degree. I'll talk about it later though, because this mixtape is weird. J. Cole threatens to drop new music again. I haven't really talked about him ever before on my channel, but I'm not exactly a Cole fan in any way. I really liked The Off Season. I really like For Your Eyes Only, but his music has never been really anything crazy to me. I never understood why he was grouped together as the big three, because someone like Kendrick is actually incredible, and Drake isn't insane, but he does huge numbers. Cole is just kind of like there. I mean, he has big numbers. He can rap pretty well. He's never been too consistent. I like KOD more than most people, but aside from that, I've never really been like a Cole fan. Not exactly my thing. I'm definitely more of a Kendrick guy. Anywho, this mixtape was what I'm here to talk about that came out 2 days ago. And it's really weird, because you'd think someone like J. Cole, who is threatening to drop an album at some point called The Fall Off, that is going to be his last album apparently. You'd think as a little teaser for that, he's going to come in hard with a mixtape. He's going to really, hit the scale right. He's going to make a first impression for the start of the year, for maybe he'll drop it later in the year. But he doesn't. He kind of falls short in a lot of areas on this mixtape. More than I honestly expected. I mean, I knew I wasn't going to love this, but I didn't expect it to be this meh, if I guess. Because, like, there's an alright album in here somewhere if you delete some of the tracks and whatnot, but there's nothing crazy. There is definitely some standouts that I'll get to, but he just couldn't lock all the way in for a release, which makes sense, I guess, because it's just a mixtape, and it's not supposed to be a cohesive album, which, sure. But the other thing is, none of the verses on here, except for like 2, are comparable to anything from like an old Cole album. Like 2014 Forest Hills Drive, it's not great, but there's some pretty good songs on there. There's some nice, I like a lot. I like most every song on here. Same thing with For Your Eyes Only. I don't think they're perfect albums, but I think they're better than this. I think they're way better than this. I would say there's been like a decline in J. Cole's work ethic, I guess, because he did really good on The Off Season, and he's planning to drop his magnum opus, I guess, because on here he says once, me dropping The Fall Off is like Jay-Z dropping Reasonable Doubt last. For those who don't know, Reasonable Doubt is Jay-Z's first album that is his most acclaimed in a lot of areas. So I guess he plans for The Fall Off to be his most critical, amazing album, I guess, which is cool. I don't know if he's going to actually do that, though. I think he's going to fall short very badly, because there's definitely a lot of songs on here that are just, like, bad. Like Fever literally does not sound like a J. Cole song, which you might be saying, oh, he's trying to experiment. He's trying to branch out. He's not humble anymore. But I saw this clip with Rick Rubin and Kanye one time, and Rick Rubin was like, if it sounds like it could be on somebody else's album, it can't be on your album, dude. And that's really true, because this sounds like a Drake song. This sounds like not only a Drake song, it sounds like a Drake song from 2016, when Drake was when he was turning pop. This sounds just like a song on Views. Like, if this was on Views, but it was Drake, it would be perfect. It would fit right in with all the other mid. And there's a lot of stuff on here like that. Hunting Wabbits. I guess I like the Looney Tunes reference on there, but it's really uninteresting. I really can't remember anything about the track. I can't like recall anything about a lot of these. There is definitely some that are pretty good. For example, the intro, I thought it was a pretty cool song. I mean, I liked it. I didn't put it on my playlist because I don't want to hear that through the day. But I just thought it was kind of boring. I just thought it wasn't really interesting and too long, 5 minutes long for an intro. This isn't Wesley Theory, man. Okay, you're not making Dip in My Butterfly. I'll also get to that later because it just wasn't interesting. Also, Gucci Mane's on it. I don't really remember what he did, but okay. And nothing really crazy there. Cole's flow on the second verse I thought was actually pretty good. I thought it was nice. Crocodile Tears, no way, Jose. It was The beat sounded bad from the start. It just sounded whack. And it just sounds like a Future beat. Or like a Thug beat. Just literally sounds like something one of those guys would do. I think it is produced by ATL Jacob, which makes sense. Or no, T-Minus, sorry. There's another song in here produced by ATL Jacob. But yeah, a lot of this just sounds like other people's music. It doesn't sound like a J. Cole release, really. It's nothing on here crazy good. Except for like 2 songs on here. You have Sticks and Stones and Pie. The first one, Sticks and Stones, actually being produced by The Alchemist, Uncle Al, who is amazing. And I don't think I've ever heard J. Cole on an Uncle Al beat, which is pretty awesome. He locked in, the beat is nice, obviously. And if there had been an album of songs like this, or a mixtape of songs like this, it would have been pretty enjoyable. If Cole had just, gone in for the flow and talked about whatever. I think he's just running out of things to talk about, which I guess makes sense. You can't talk about being from Fayetteville forever. He could find something to talk about. He's, how old is he, 40? Yeah, he turns 40 next year. And the same thing with Pie. I really liked Pie. Pie is probably my favorite song on this album. The beat is super sick. He goes in, Johnny P's Caddy type of stuff from 2 years ago. Really, that's actually a really nice song. That's a very good song. So if there had been stuff like that, I would have been like, wow, that was a good tape. But I just felt like Cole didn't really do anything interesting here. But there is a pretty big elephant in the room. I might say like a T-Rex in the room I haven't talked about yet, which would be the closing track, 7-Minute Drill. That is the most streamed song on this album because it's been the topic of hot debate recently and hot discussion because he disses our glorious Kendrick on here. How could he? He claps back at Kendrick for his verse on Like That, where Kendrick said things such as, I don't like the big 3. It's just Big Me. First person shooter. I hope they came with 3 switches. Peak. Like, actually, Kendrick is amazing on that song. J. Cole is not amazing on this song. For whatever reason, he tries to discredit Kendrick Lamar's discography, which is the very last thing I'll go for. There's things you can criticize Kendrick for. You could be like Jay-Z. You could be like, hey, how is he conscious and street at the same time? Sure, you could say that. You could say, you're hypocritical. You could say, hey, you said a slur in your song. You could say a lot of things about Kendrick, right? His discography, though, you're going to discredit his discography. The one thing that's like he's known for being amazing at. Really? Because on this song, he says, your first album was classic. Okay, Section 80, yeah, classic. Your second album was boring. Good Kid, Mad City is not boring. It's an amazing album. It's one of the greatest albums ever. Your third album was your peak. To Pimp a Butterfly, yeah, it's considered one of the greatest albums of all time. And then he says his last album was whack. Sure. A lot of people didn't like Mr. Brown and the Big Steppers because it was different. But you're going to discredit his original discography that is hailed as amazing when your discography is boring? And you're going to call him boring? And you're going to call Kendrick boring? Jermaine, bro. Seriously? You don't have an album better. You don't have an album better than Good Kid, Mad City? The thing I was saying to myself yesterday was Kendrick could definitely make For Your Eyes Only, which a lot of people say is their favorite Cole album. Or Kendrick could definitely make 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Cole could never make To Pimp a Butterfly. Cole could never make Damn. Cole could never make Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Cole could not make Father Time. Cole could not make Fear. Cole could not make XXX. Cole could not make For Sale Interlude. Cole could not make Sing About Me Dying of Thirst. Cole couldn't do any of that. This verse is a joke. This mixtape is a joke. This is I'm being overly dramatic, but I'm being honest. This is so funny because I don't think it's a bad verse or anything. I think the first beat is really weird because the first beat on this song is like a Detroit beat. I could literally hear Babytron on it. J. Cole, contrary to popular belief, is not from Detroit. He is from Germany. And then the second beat is from Conductor Williams. It's a really good beat, but song is still kind of boring. And that's basically what this mixtape is. I will give Cole credit for one thing, is that he's making rap interesting, I guess, because, there's a little bit of a feud going on between him and his bro, Kendrick. Kendrick did it. It's not like Cole did anything to start this. He just kind of was like, oh, Kendrick dissed me. Let me, start writing about being humble. He couldn't, at least, when Jay-Z made Takeover. Nas came back with Ether and was like, all right, hold on. Cockefeller Records. But, Jay-Z can't even, try. J. Cole can't even try, sorry. Anyways, this mixtape is weird. It's a 5 out of 10. I need my GOAT Kendrick to destroy him. Come on, bro. Stop this.